Alright, well, we've had 3 months of 2023, which means it's time for the top 10 Q1. Hey everyone, welcome back to Andrew's Wizardly Reads. And as I mentioned in the opening, it is time for a top 10. But before we get into that, please like this video and subscribe to the channel, as it does help the channel grow. And you can check the description box down below for information about my Patreon if you want to help support what I do here. Now, I do have a top 10. However, I also have an honorable mention because I read this one and it would have made the top 10. So this book doesn't come out till July 11th. And that is Stephen Arian's Judas Blossom. This is Mongol historical fantasy, and it was so amazing. But the reason I am slotting this in as an honorable mention is I was given an arc. I got an arc, but the book doesn't come out till July 11th. So please get a pre-order in because this book was amazing. All right, on to the top 10. Now, diving straight into this top 10, we have got Seasons of Albadon by Elon Marsh and Christopher Warman. I loved this reading experience. Full of dark, kind of dark themes. It's kind of like a Grimm fairy tale. If you know the Grimm fairy tales, they're great stories, but they're kind of dark. And so here we've got 4 kind of novelettes woven together into about a 200-page book that has a through narrative and just tons of heavy emotional beats. Each novelette kind of has its own POV. Very, very good. Well worth checking out. Then we have got my good friend Tori's book, Phased, by Victoria Tekken. I've got a book review, if you want to know more about this one, right there. But this is essentially a YA paranormal thriller with just tons of coming of age, tons of analyzation of self-worth, PTSD, mental health. We've got Val and Lila kind of just trying to integrate into normal society. They're told everything that they've ever known is wrong, and that they need to conform. And it's just such a great analyzation. More people need to read this one. It was a fantastic read. So Phased by Victoria Tekken, art by Sarah Ferrari. And yes, this one makes me super happy, and it also makes me sad that I waited so long to read it, because I am a convert to this series. For some reason, I think I read the first book at a very bad time. And so now, coming back to it 6 years after the event that kind of put me in a dark place, I am all of a sudden really enjoying this series. That's A Song of Ice and Fire. And specifically, we're going to talk about A Clash of Kings. I loved everything about this book. This book was amazing. It was pulse-pounding. It was the Battle of Blackwater Bay. Just so many good things in A Clash of Kings. I really, really enjoyed this story, and I can't wait to continue the series. I have started A Storm of Swords, but then the mood reading bug bit me, and so I've kind of got a placeholder right there, and I'm just going to keep chugging along through A Song of Ice and Fire. Maybe if I take my time, I'll be able to read Winds of Winter on release. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Come on, George. You can do it. We'll see what happens. Up next, we've got Anthony Ryan's Waking Fire. This is Draconis Memoria, Book 1. This is a multi-POV story. Basically, we've got a kind of government run by a corporation. This whole society revolves around blood burners and technology that uses dragon blood. It's just fascinating. It's interesting. We've kind of got expeditions going out. We've got conspiracies. We've got political intrigue. We've got war. This was awesome. And I just really enjoyed this story. And I can't wait to continue. I can't wait. I'm actually getting ready to read the second book. Up next, we got something that I don't typically read. And that's a period mystery. We've got Butcher Baker, Candlestick Taker by Patricia Meredith. This is the Spokane Clock Tower Mysteries. This is set in 1900, and we're following there's been a murder. We got to figure out who the murderer is. There's kind of like historical events tied to this murder. It's so good. The end of this book, my eyes was just like, dang! Like, ugh. It's so good. I have read this entire series. and I cannot recommend it enough. Like, currently there are 3 books out, and I believe book 4 drops later this year. Patricia Meredith is a new favorite author of mine. Kind of reintroduced me to all the period mysteries again. Well, at the time they weren't period, but like Agatha Christie, Anna Catherine Green, like I am starting to just dive into those now because like I've already purchased these books and now I'm just excited to read them. Up next, we have got Debunked by Dido Abbott, Terravenium, Volume 1. If you like Terry Pratchett, if you like Douglas Adams, if you like those 2000s adventure movies like The Mummy or Journey to the Center of the Earth, and you want a nice zany twist on it, check this one out. It's got a mad scientist that just happens to be a camel, and it's got dirigibles, and that's all you really need to know, because it's just so good. Yes, please check this one out. I believe I've got a book review for this one as well, but you can check it out right there. Next up, I've only got this one in a trilogy bind-up, but we're going to talk about Storm Warden's Cycle of Fire. Great classic sci-fantasy, and it's got wizards, it's got nautical, it's got coming of age, it's got demons, it's got sci-fi, it's got my heart. I love Storm Warden by Janie Wirtz. Pretty much I love that book so much that I just started buying up all of Janie's bibliography that I could get my hands on. So yes, Cycle of Fire, Storm Warden, Janie Wirtz. Check this out. Then we have got a amazing book, and I need to get back to this series because it's been a couple months. But we have got Matthew Corbett, Volume 2 by Robert McCammon, Queen of Bedlam. This one's a bit thick, but this is set, I believe, like 1700s New York. And what Matthew Corbett is investigating is there's a serial killer on the loose, and I believe he's like ripping people's faces off. He's ripping people's faces off, and he's called the Masker. And Matthew is trying to figure out what is going on. It is so good. Like, it's just such a great evolution of Speaks the Nightbird to see what Matthew is kind of doing after those events, and I just really enjoyed this. I would have to say that this is better than Speaks the Nightbird. It was fantastic. Great way to start the year. I believe that was like the second book that I've read this year. Up next, we have got Heliotrope by Palmer Pickering. It's a beefy one, but it's so worth the read. Again, book review right there. And essentially, we've got an older protagonist. He's been through the wars. There's a coup, and he has to flee with a couple charges. We've got some great found family. We've got some great self-discovery, just self-worth. All of that is thrown into here, and it's just understatedly awesome. I love what Palmer has done here in Heliotrope. Fantastic, fantastic book. And then one that I have to mention, because it'll be out by the time that this video is out. At the time of recording, it was an ARC, but I did finish this in Q1. And I absolutely fell in love with this book. This is probably my book of Q1. It was so good. It is the sequel to No Land for Heroes by Cal Black. This is No Port in a Storm. Now, I love No Land for Heroes because it was a fantasy western. This is more Gaslamp, where we kind of go to like a Louisiana bayou setting. And we kind of explore Millie's history. And it's such a great analyzation. There's a nice romance subplot to this, but it's not like oh, I'm in love with you, take me. It's not that kind of romance. It's hey, we did a thing in book 1, and was that thing important? And then it kind of evolves, and it's this slow unveiling, and it's just fantastic. This entire book just pulled me in. This was one of those books where it's a special feeling of, like, quite literally, I can't wait for my chunk of time to sit down and read this book. This book made me want to read it. I loved everything about No Port in a Storm. It was better in every single way to No Land for Heroes, and I already gave that book 5 stars. Cal Black is one of my new all-time favorite authors. If she keeps putting out books like this, I can't even begin to articulate quite how much I loved No Port in a Storm. Like, be careful going into this series because you might just fall in love. I can't describe how much I enjoyed this. Like, it's just I finished it and now I'm just Anyway, that is my top 10 Q1 here. Let me know in the comments down below what were your favorite 10 books of the first quarter of the year. And that's all I've really got for you today, guys. Till next time, peace out. Stay magical. Bye. And as always, I want to give a huge thank you to my patrons.